Well, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. I'm Ron Brown, and this is Tech for Senior. It is, of course, the 12th of February. What a game last night, right? You're all excited about the football game. Well, there was also a golf game called the Phoenix Open, and the Canadian won it. Nick Taylor, in overtime on the second hole, he sunk a birdie. Well done, Nick. He's from Abbotsford, British Columbia, just down the road from me. And of course, Kansas City won the Super Bowl. So that was a great game. Anyway, today we're here not to talk about sports. We're going to talk about technology. And we have, of course, I'll introduce everybody in just a minute, but we are going to, we're going to also, this Thursday, we have our Tech for Senior Live, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. Lots of fun this week. For those of you who, we have our premiere video today, which is, for those of you who are new, it is a video we run at about 1/2 and it is made up of usually 3 or 4 selections from our archives about a year ago. And today, Hewie's going to give us a really good talk about SD cards and all the different types of SD cards. And then he's going to talk about an interesting website called Photofunia. And he also is going to give us an update on Notepad. Bob is also going to talk about Bing searches using ChatGPT. So I will put the link in the show notes in the chat in a minute, so you can do that. But we also put the link in our newsletter, and our newsletter comes out twice a week. If you haven't subscribed for that, it's sponsored, of course, by the Glenora Seniors Computer Club. It is also by Geeks on Tour and the Central Florida Computer Society. Thank you for your sponsorship. And if you haven't signed up, it'll give you the link and also the agenda for today, so you know what we're going to be doing. So it comes out on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Want to thank, we had some donations come in this week. I want to thank, we had a very successful donation month in January. I want to thank Sandra Ruth, Claudia Merriman, and Robert Benarian for their generous donations. We do keep our link up for the year, and if you do have some money left over after tax season, then that would certainly be great. Let's Hewie, let me introduce everybody. I'm going to unspotlight myself here.
Yep. Wednesday is Sunday. And then Wednesday, I am driving up to Sun City Center, Florida, and doing a live presentation. And then I'm doing that same presentation to a group in Arizona on Friday.
There you go. There you go. So you've got a busy.
One thing I've gotten some emails this week that we need to explain how to find the Tech for Senior Live show. People are still having trouble on figuring out where we are and how to get to us.
Well, you know, Hewie, let me snap my fingers, and I've done a video about that. Thank you for asking that and remind me. Just like that, we're going to play a video about that today. Thanks for reminding me. You ask and you shall receive. Well done. Bob, how you doing?
I'm also doing a video about Tech for Senior Live.
Are you really?
Yeah, mine is short, sweet, to the point, and it might even rhyme a little bit.
I think it might bring tears to your eyes. Don't you think so? All right. So we have a lot in store for you today. And Ray, what's happening today? Did someone die?
I'm sure somebody died today. People dying every day. I was commenting before that, looking at my music list of artists to play, that it's 4 in a row of artists who've passed away recently. So a little bit more today.
Right.
But I just wanted you to know I am not doing a video on Tech for Senior Live.
Okay. All right. Now, the other thing that we get each year is throughout the year, we're very thankful for people who in our audience step forward and help us do the show. And we've had, of course, over the last 4 years, we have a lot of our viewers who have participated in creating videos or live presentations on different technology. And I would encourage you, if you are a viewer and you do have some interest in specific area, that will certainly be very helpful in creating a video on different topics. And so I would encourage that. And today we have just someone, Maurice Scaglione from Stupid Computers in Florida, who's going to do some tips on Mac and Apple. And so thank you so much, Maurice, for doing that. Is Maurice here?
Yeah, I'm here. It's on the iPhone, not on the Mac.
Okay, iPhone. Sorry, iPhone. Yeah. Okay, great. So welcome, Maurice, and thank you for doing it. That's great. Will you be available in the Q&A afterwards for any questions people might have?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be here.
Okay, thanks, Maurice. Okay, Bob, let's get the show on the road and let's get going.
Okay, you caught me a little flat-footed this time. Here is my security news roundup for the week ending February 9th, 2024. AnyDesk hacked. Popular remote desktop software mandates password reset. Remote desktop software maker AnyDesk disclosed last Friday that it suffered a cyber attack that led to a compromise of its production systems. The German company said the incident, which it disclosed following a security audit, is not a ransomware attack and that it has notified relevant authorities. We have revoked all security-related certificates and systems have been remediated or replaced where necessary, the company said in a statement. We will be revoking the previous code signing certificate for our binaries shortly and have already started replacing it with a new one. It's recommended that users download the latest version of the software, which comes with a new code signing certificate. Read more at ℏ𝕠𝕟.com. Critical patches released for new flaws in Cisco, Fortinet, VMware products. Cisco, Fortinet, and VMware have released security fixes for multiple security vulnerabilities, including critical weaknesses that could be exploited to perform arbitrary actions on affected devices. The first set from Cisco consists of 3 flaws impacting Cisco Expressway series that could allow an unauthenticated remote attacker to conduct cross-site requests forgery attacks. Patches for the vulnerabilities are available in Cisco Expressway release version 14.3.4 and 15.0.0. Update ASAP. Read more at ℏ𝕠𝕟.com. After FBI takedown, KV botnet operators shift tactics and attempt to bounce back. Late last month, the U.S. government announced a court-authorized disruption effort to take down the KV cluster, which is typically reserved for manual operations against high-profile targets chosen after broader scanning via the JDY subgroup. Now, according to new findings from the cybersecurity firm, the JDY cluster fell silent for roughly 15 days, following public disclosure and as a byproduct of the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation undertaking. We observed the KV botnet operators begin to restructure, committing 8 straight hours of activity on December 8, 2023. Lumen said in a technical report shared with Hacker News. Read more at ℏ𝕠𝕟.com. 2 million affected as learning app suffers data leak. A misconfigured database on the Lecture Notes learning app, a platform for sharing class notes, has exposed more than 2 million user records, the Cyber News research team has discovered. In December 2023, the Cyber News research team discovered a misconfigured MongoDB database belonging to lecture notes. The database was being updated in real time and exposed the personal and access data of users and app admins. A total of 2,165,139 user records were compromised, with the leaked data including username, first and last name, email, encrypted passwords, phone number, IP address, user agent, and session tokens. Read more at cybernews.com. FCC votes to ban scam robocalls that use AI-generated voices. The Federal Communications Commission said Thursday it is immediately outlawing scam robocalls featuring fake artificial intelligence-created voices, cracking down on so-called deepfake technology that experts say could undermine election security and supercharge fraud. The unanimous FCC vote extends anti-robocall rules to cover unsolicited AI deepfake calls by recognizing those voices as artificial. Under the federal law governing telemarketing and robocalling, the FCC's move gives state attorneys general more legal tools to pursue illegal robocallers that use AI-generated voices to fool Americans, the FCC said. Read more at CNN.com. OpenAI forms a new team to study child safety. Under scrutiny from activists and parents, OpenAI has formed a new team to study ways to prevent its AI tools from being misused or abused by kids. The team is currently looking to hire a child safety enforcement specialist who will be responsible for applying OpenAI's policies in the context of AI-generated content and working on review processes related to sensitive, presumably kid-related content. Kids and teens are increasingly turning to Gen AI tools for help not only with schoolwork but personal issues, according to a poll from the Center for Democracy and Technology. Read more at TechCrunch.com. Finance worker pays out $25 million after video call with deepfake chief financial officer. A finance worker at a multinational firm was tricked into paying out $25 million to fraudsters using deepfake technology to pose as the company's chief financial officer in a video conference call, according to Hong Kong police. The elaborate scam saw the worker duped into attending a video call with what he thought were several other members of staff, but all of whom were in fact deepfake recreations, Hong Kong police said at a briefing on Friday. In the multi-personal video conference, it turns out that everyone was fake. Senior Superintendent Baron Chan Sung-Ching told the city's public broadcaster RTHK. Read more at CNN.com. This week's must-see on my YouTube channel. Dissecting a phishing email, a tutorial on what you should look for, what to avoid, and what to do after you've received it. Phishing is the most prevalent form of malware in 2024. Please watch my video on that topic by following the link listed. Did you know? Do you often sneeze when exposed to a bright light, such as stepping out of a dim movie theater on a sunny day? Then you're one of the 18 to 35% of people that have photic sneeze reflex, a genetic predisposition to sneezing intensely after sudden exposure to bright light. Did you know that avocados are fruits because they are single-seeded berries, and rubber bands last longer when refrigerated? Just thought you might want to know. Do the best you can in every task, no matter how unimportant it may seem at the time. Thanks to Sandra Day O'Connor. And that's a wrap for this week's Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening. And that's a wrap for the serious side. Let's go on to something a little bit funnier. It's Thursday morning, and it's time for Tech for Seniors Live, where technology gets its deserved deep dive. This isn't happening via Zoom, so we can't see who's joining the show. So please sign in to the chat box below as we gather around the screen, both far and wide, with curiosity as our ever-trusty guide. We'll navigate the digital seas, a knowledgeable crew, exploring all the tech tips, both old and new. No need for cameras, no need for dress. Just bring your questions and we'll address. From gadgets to apps and all the tech lore, we're here to help, to teach, and much more. So type away in the chat. Don't be shy. Our tech-savvy hosts are here to reply. It's Thursday morning. Let the tech talk flow at the Tech for Seniors Live, the best tech show.
Well done, Bob. Well done. Bob is now our official poet for Tech for Seniors. So anyway, to follow up with that, let me just follow up with I have another video about this. Hold on a sec. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we help seniors understand technology with our 2 meetings a month. Now, the first show we have is our Monday show, which of course is a Zoom meeting, but we do broadcast that to YouTube. Now, our Thursday show is a lot of fun. We've been doing it now for about 3 years, and we go over all the tech news of the week, and we talk about other pertinent topics that have occurred that week with the same gang off our Monday show. It's very popular, but we always get questions on Monday, how do we watch that show? Because our Thursday show is not a Zoom meeting. So today I wanted to make a video just to make sure everybody understands how to get to our Thursday show. So let's talk about our Thursday show. Well, guess what? It's on Thursday. Yes, every Thursday all through the year. What time do we start the show? Well, the show starts the same time as the Monday show, and that is at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm going to let everyone figure out what time zone they're in, but it is the same time as our Monday show. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's not a Zoom meeting. You don't have to log in to your Zoom account. You don't need any special passwords. It's simply broadcast out to YouTube and to Facebook. So today I want to show you how to find this on YouTube. Okay, so let's look at how we would watch our Thursday show on YouTube. So you'll see that I'm in incognito mode on my desktop, and I'm in YouTube. I have not logged into my account as I want this to be similar to what you would see. So this should be what you would see, and you want to find Tech for Senior. So you're simply going to type in Tech for Senior in the search, and you're going to come up here. Now, we're going to see, you can certainly go to our channel, which is right here, and we'll discuss that. But here is our show for Monday. You simply click this, and it will tell you that you can certainly subscribe, and it will tell you that it will be live in 22 hours, and this is the show as it is ready to be broadcast. So let me just explain a point of confusion. On our Monday show, you all know at 8:45, I click the switch and we broadcast to YouTube. Now, if you are watching us on YouTube on Monday, you know that suddenly the show appears and you can watch it. On Thursday, it's a bit different, and we actually pre-schedule the show. So you are able to look at this and see that we'll be live in 22 hours as the show has been scheduled. Why don't I do that for the Monday show? It's very difficult to do that through Zoom. It's hard to pre-schedule a Zoom show in advance. But with the software that we have on our Thursday show called StreamYard, it makes it very easy for me to schedule a show. Now on Tuesday morning, prior to the newsletter going out, I have to formulate what we're going to do on the Thursday show. So I get our topics organized, I talk to the presenters and so on and so forth. So that's all ready to go because I have to put that in our newsletter. Usually on Tuesday afternoon, I will broadcast that out and pre-schedule our Thursday show. So if you're looking around, you'll see, yes, we have a scheduled show on Thursday. Now, sometimes I get super busy if I'm not at home Tuesday afternoon. I will sometimes do it on Wednesday. So you should be able to see that if you're looking for it long before the show starts. It also will show up on Facebook. And this is what you're seeing on YouTube, is you're seeing our show that is pre-scheduled for Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Let's come back to our YouTube search. If you see here, when we search Tech for Senior, you'll see, of course, that we have this. This is our channel. Let's click this, and this is going to take you to our YouTube channel. And now you'll see on the top here, it says Home, Videos, Shorts, and of course, we're talking about a live production. So we're going to click the Live button, and as you will see, here we are. This is our February 1st show that will be broadcast tomorrow. And it says it's upcoming. And that's exactly what you want. And these are the playlists over here. You'll see that these are all organized for your quick review. But we want to look for our Thursday show, and that is where we're going to find it under Live. Now, one of the things that you can do to make your life easy so you don't have to do this again is simply come up to the top and come over and bookmark this page. Do you see my little icon here? When I bring my mouse up, you'll see it says bookmarks, and this is just a bookmark, and then you'll always have that link ready to go. Now, this is our Tech for Senior website, and if you look right at the very top here on the left-hand corner, it says live stream. Click here to join Tech for Senior Live, and this is the link we have. Click this, and this is going to take you right to where we want to be, and all we have to do is click the Live, and here we are. So the link is in right at the, let me just go back over that one more time. The link is at the top, the very top of our website, right here. Click the link to join Tech for Senior Live. Now this is this is Tuesday's newsletter, sponsored by the Glendora Seniors Computer Club, Geeks on Tour, and the Central Florida Computer Society. Let's come down at the, let's come down here, and we're going to come way down on the list here. Keep coming down, down, down. Keep coming past Ray's section and Bill's section. Keep coming down, and here we have a section which has been in the newsletter forever, and of course it says this is for our Tech for Senior Live, and it says link to the show. This is actually a clickable link in the newsletter. You can click this, and guess where it's going to take you? It's going to take you right to our site again. All we have to do is click Live, and this is how you'd find it. Now, if you are looking for meeting info for the Monday show, we list all the meeting ID that you require to log in, and all the times and all the information is here for the meeting. Now, the other way that you can watch the show is by coming over to our Facebook page. And here, if you see, it's we're at facebook.com, and we're going to, and it's just Tech for Senior. So if you're in your Facebook page, just look for Tech for Senior, and you'll come right to our page. This is a good page to keep an eye on because, of course, these are all the articles we're going to talk about tomorrow. And we're going to come all the way down These were all put in since yesterday, or actually Tuesday. Here it is. Tech for Senior plans to go live, and it's going to be tomorrow at 9 a.m. And this is Tech for Senior Live, February 1st. So you will be able to watch at this time through this link at on Facebook. So you have your choice. You can either watch on Facebook or you can watch on YouTube. So one of the problems we have with the Thursday show is we can't see you. Unlike our Monday show, whether it's a Zoom meeting, we can all sit and have a chat. In our Thursday show, we're broadcasting out and we can't see you out there. So we encourage that you participate in the show through our chat. And if you look over here, this is our YouTube broadcast this Thursday, and you'll see, of course, down here on the right, you have a chat button here, and we can see the chat from the control room in our studio. This is great because we can certainly communicate with everyone in the show. If you have questions to ask, you want to let us know what the weather is, we encourage you to participate and let us know that you're out there, because otherwise we'd just be sitting talking to ourselves. So thanks so much for doing that. Those people who do put their name in the chat and do comment. We often get people from England and other parts around the world dropping notes in the chat, and it's lots of fun to see who's listening to the show. So that's how you find our Tech for Senior live show on Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We have a lot of fun, and we sure appreciate it if you drop by and bring your coffee, and let's have an hour of fun and entertainment as we review the news of the week. See you there. Bye now. All right. So now, if anyone does anyone have a question on how to find Tech for Senior? Now it is, of course, Hewie already pointed out there is a mistake in there, and we do the show 2 shows weekly, not monthly. So anyway, my first mistake of the year, eh? Anyway, so anyway, all right. Listen, Bill, where's Bill James? Bill, are you still around? Did Bill? I forgot to introduce Bill.
I am.
Are you here? Sorry, I forgot to introduce you this morning.
All right.
You know, I do apologize, but you understand I'm a senior, right?
We both are.
All right. I didn't. I thought I didn't mention Bill, but anyway, welcome. Bill will be, of course, on the show on Thursday. He hits his time on every third Thursday. He's part of the show, so we look forward to that on this coming Thursday. All right, great. Now, what I wanted to do now is introduce Maurice Scaglione. He has, of course, you'll see his video that he has 3 selections for us, and I'm going to play that now. And again, I want to thank him so much for his for doing this. All right. Well, it's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Each year, a number of our viewers step up to the plate and offer to create some program content for Tech for Senior. And we are so excited to have you do this. And if you are in the audience and you have something interesting you can do, well, just make a screencast of it, any sort of video, and we'll help you create a video that we can use in our show. Today, I'd like to thank Maurice Scaglione from Stupid Computers in Florida. He's a good friend of Jim and Chris Gould, and also a follower of Tech for Senior on our show. He responded to my query last year and said, I need some help with Apple devices, and I'd like to create some more Apple content for our viewers. And he stepped up to the plate today and has created some short videos for you. I've put them together in this 10-minute clip, and I think you'll find them very interesting. I'm going to talk, first of all, about the Apple ID and how it might be a little bit confusing and not as easy as you thought. And then he's going to follow that up with show you how to log into iCloud and what you actually need to know. And once you're in iCloud, he's then going to show you how to navigate around, and then he's going to talk about contacts. So let's get on with the video, And again, I would like to thank Maurice for the excellent work he did.
All right, let's start with this presentation. You go into settings, and up here you will notice that you should have your name. And if you click on this, it has your name here and the email address associated with your Apple ID. This is an important piece of information because you may discover at a later point that your Apple ID email address ends up being different than the email address you have used in the past to purchase applications, even if those applications are free. So I would like to bring your attention to an interesting problem that always comes up. If we come down here to General, and we come up here to About, we come to this area here where it says Capacity and Available. Make a note of these numbers. This is the total hard drive size of your device, and this is the amount available to you. Now, in this demonstration, you see that I only have 2 photographs. My real account has over 60,000 photographs. And the important thing is that because I use iCloud Backup, it does not take up all the space on my device. But the real reason we are here is because a majority of people get an email or a text from Apple telling them that they are out of storage space. When you get that, that warning has nothing to do with the total physical storage of your device. Instead, come up here to where your name is and click on that. And come and click here where it says the word iCloud. If you look up here at iCloud, it says that I'm currently using 154 out of 5 gigabytes. The text that you normally get from Apple refers to this storage being used up. Now, 5 gigabytes in today's day and age is a paltry amount of storage, but this is Apple asking you now to give them $1 a month to bump up your storage so that your photos, which are here, and you see that it says on, this means that my photos are being backed up to the iCloud photos. Now, I mentioned earlier that I have 60,000 photographs. They are not held on my device. What you do is click where it says the word optimize iPhone storage or iPad storage, and you have this checkbox. This then allows the entirety of your photographs to be stored on iCloud, and then small thumbnails are displayed on your device. Now, as long as you are internet connected, you are able to access all of your photographs.
So you log into a website on a computer with your favorite browser and go to iCloud.com. You then enter the username, which is your Apple ID. Now you should say, keep me signed in. Then it will ask you for a password, which you will now enter. Then you click on this button here to log in. At this point, a security code is necessary, and if you scroll up here, you'll get this 2-factor authentication. Look at the device that you have logged or linked and enter it as a number, which is only good for one use. I recommend that you say trust this browser for future usage. Go through what you see and click OK, and it will slowly log into the web page. And now you will be in iCloud.com as yourself, And this is where you will now spend some time. Once you are here inside of iCloud.com, this is where you can go to various parts of the website to make sure that your important information is being safely backed up. This will come in handy when you buy a new phone or should you lose an iPad or an iPhone. If you scroll down here to this section here on the left, you will see a couple of important areas, and this is what you want to double check. Click on Contacts, and you should see your list of all the people in your phone book. If they are not here, it is important that we check that you have contacts turned on for backup in iCloud. When I click up here on the left on the word iCloud Contacts, I am brought back to the main page. Here is the other super important area, Photos. Click on this. Are all of your thousands of photographs that you have taken over the years safely stored here? Let's go back here in the upper left and hit iCloud again. Scroll down, and we see here your notes. If you have notes written on your iPad or your iPhone, they are all synchronized here, and it is easier to come in and edit them on the computer. And that's the point of this, that you can use a large screen computer to do most of your work as opposed to your small screen iPhone or iPad. Once again, let's come up here to iCloud and click to go back. Scroll down, and here is the Find My section that helps you locate items that are lost. The Reminder section list is great because the reminders you do on either devices are all here. And lastly is the calendar, where you could organize and create appointments here in a large screen format and not have to worry about using a small screen format. Let's go back here to iCloud. And here under the main section, what we want to do is go to the upper right corner and click on the bobblehead, as I call it. And now we're going to jump out of this area and go to the very important Manage Apple ID. Here we will get another verification code, and we will have to enter it. And this is why it's important that in this section you update to phone numbers and emails that are valid. If not, you will be locked out of your account. This appleid.apple.com that you can see up here is where you will now go and edit information. I won't go here into personal information, but if you click here, this is where you would make sure that your birth date and name is correct. The most critical is this account security. You would click on here and add multiple cell phone numbers so that you can get that confirming text that just let us in. If you don't have multiple phones and you've lost one of them, it's very difficult to get back in. Secondly, here under email and phone numbers, you can add other email addresses that are going to help you get back in. Lastly, down here, if you're using Outlook, Thunderbird, or some other kind of third-party program, this is where you can create an application-specific password to help you get in. The last thing I want to show you is if you scroll all the way down here and you click on Contacts. For those of you who are interested in an old-fashioned phone book, you can come up here to the three dot circles and click on it. You say Select All Contacts. You come over here to the right to where the share box is with the up arrow. Click on that. And now, if you come here to Print Contacts, you are able to print your entire phone book to have it as a backup. Click here on the word Print.
Well, thank you so much, Maurice, for doing that. Maurice is from Stupid Computers in Florida, United States. And thanks so much. All right. Thank you so much. Now, I know there will obviously be some questions about that, but we're going to do those in the Q&A. So thanks so much, Maurice, for doing that. We want to move on with our final selection now, and it's actually one I wanted to do now for a long time. And I had my wife had her knee replaced a couple of weeks ago, so had lots of time on my hands to sit around and get this done. So it's a two-part presentation, and it's actually on seniors and driving, and it's a topic that I'm sure that we all are faced with now. How long are we going to drive? How do we remain safe? And can technology actually help seniors drive more safely? And so this is part one of a two-part video. The second part will be next week. So let me play this for you. As baby boomers reach their advanced driving age, can newer technology in cars make driving safer? I'm Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we help seniors understand technology and also let them drive safer. In the opening video, you saw, of course, an accident and a fire. This accident was caused by an 82-year-old lady who was driving into a convenience store to get gas. It wasn't a self-serve station, so there was a gas attendant on duty, and she got confused as she approached the gas tanks and stepped on the accelerator rather than the brakes. This caused the car to leap forward and drive right through two gas pumps into the main store. This caused, of course, ensuing fire. They were able to extricate the lady and get her out with only minor injuries, but yet this caused a catastrophic fire in my little town of Comox last year. This was a big event, and not only did it burn down a number of stores in that convenience block, but also right next to there was a brand new apartment complex with 100 families that have just moved in. Well, the convenience store had a very big propane tank attached to it, and this was a big concern. There was a mass evacuation, and nobody lost their life, and the fire department did a great job of keeping the tank cool, and it did not explode. This could have been a bigger disaster than it already was. So today we want to look at, can newer technology in automobiles make baby boomers safer? Well, I'm going to take off my regular jacket today, and I'm going to put on my physician's coat, which I haven't worn for about 20 years now, because I started my life as a flight surgeon in the Air Force. Yes, I was involved in our National Crash Investigation Program in Canada for the military, and also, yes, those F-18 pilots. I was part of the team that had to medically examine the pilots to certify them fit to fly. I did all military types of aircraft, and as well I did crash investigation. It was a great time in my life, and I had lots of fun. But after I left the military, I also continued on with medical examinations for commercial truck drivers. I also did, yes, the Icon of the Sea, the new big ship that holds 10,000 people. Those staff captains, they all needed very strict medicals. I did those as well as a big part of my job was doing seniors medical examinations. So today I want to talk about, as we get older and we get the baby boomers get into senior driving years, you have a couple of things to look forward to. One is, of course, a medical examination, and the other is maybe a practical driving test. But what I wanted to do today is to talk about, can technology in newer cars make baby boomers safer? Now, the idea for this video actually came a couple of months ago when I went to Costco in the morning in my brand new RAV4 Prime that I only had for 2 days. I parked it, of course, in the no ding zone at Costco, way off to the side. And as I was getting out, an 83-year-old man pulled up a couple of spaces away from me in a brand new red Tesla. I looked at this and thought, what the heck is going on here? And so I smiled at him and he smiled back. He was probably thinking, that man is wondering why an old guy like me has bought a brand new Tesla. I'm thinking the same thing. So I went over and said, hi, how are you? This is a really great looking car. And he smiled and he said, yes, he said, My goal in life is to pick up my granddaughter at school every day at 3 p.m. I'm always worried about my driving because of my age. And he said, I thought the technology in this car would make me a safer driver so I could get my granddaughter home. That inspired my idea for this video. Let's see if this technology can help baby boomers stay safer while they're driving. This video is being viewed in different countries. I practiced in the province of British Columbia in Canada. So my knowledge and how the system works really stems from my professional career in this province, but I can tell you that all the provinces across Canada were very similar. Now in the United States, the ability to issue and receive driver's licenses is usually done by the state. It's not a federal responsibility. And again, this most likely is the same in different countries around the world. So one of the comments I always get is that nasty doctor took my driver's license away, or that policeman took my driver's license away, or my family took my driver's license away. Well, let me explain how the administrative part of this works. The only person who issues a driving license in the province of British Columbia is the superintendent of motor vehicles. The only person that takes away your driver's license is the superintendent of motor vehicles. Why it's important to understand this is because there's a whole series of appeal processes that you can go through if you do have your license revoked. So you should be aware of that if that happens to you. Now, the superintendent of motor vehicles obviously gets information from doctors, from police, from concerned family members, and that is how they make their decisions. Now, the decision whether to allow you to drive is really based on two inputs. One is the medical exam input, and the second is a practical driving test, usually done at a motor vehicle branch. So you have two things to watch for. Let me talk a little bit about the medical examination to start with. Now, many years ago, this is a long time ago, when I started doing driving medical examinations, they ticked along fairly early in life, probably around 60 or 65, I don't remember specifically, but they automatically were printed out, sent to you, and you had to take them to your physician and get them completed and return them to the motor vehicle branch. It was very interesting. At the bottom of the form, it always said, is this person fit to drive? And I had to either tick yes or no and sign it. Well, I had no idea whether that person was fit to drive. It was really a very poorly worded document. As time went on, they changed the document, and the document said, are there any medical conditions that might affect their driving? And you said either yes, and then will we follow up, or do you want us to follow up? I remember that part of the form very well. And then they added at the very end, do you recommend a practical driving test? That was really helpful, and I would either tick yes or no. And then the form was signed and sent to the superintendent of motor vehicles. Now, over the years, a number of things have changed, and now in British Columbia, you don't require a driving medical exam unless you're over the age of 80. This probably reflects the severe shortage of physicians and medical personnel we have in the province, although they do about 70,000 driver medicals in the province of British Columbia each year. But before that, you will probably have to go every 5 years to have your license renewed at the motor vehicle branch. They'll ask you some medical questions and if you had any health issues, and that may trigger a medical examination or a practical driving review based on those questions. Also, they'll probably also do an eye exam with a peripheral vision check, just to make sure you can see when you're driving, which is a really important thing. So seniors should expect, as you get older, that when you get your motor vehicle branch, when you go to the motor vehicle branch to get your driver's license renewed, you will get a questionnaire about your health and probably an eye exam. How often that occurs will probably depend on the location you're in, country, state, etc. And based on that, you may get a further requirement for a medical examination or a practical driving test. After the age of 80 in British Columbia, you will require a mandatory medical examination, and then possibly you'll need a practical driving test depending on the results of that. Now, the medical examination is really quite simple, and I found it very obvious who should be driving and who shouldn't. Once the medical was completed, it went back to the motor vehicle branch and the superintendent of motor vehicles, and he decided on the disposition of the license. The only other advice I can give you is there's not a lot you can do for the medical exam, but if you get requested to have a practical driving exam at the motor vehicle branch, I would strongly recommend the following. If you adopt the attitude that you've been driving for 40 years or 50 years, you've never had an accident, you're certainly going to pass that exam. That is a very bad attitude. I would strongly recommend that you take a driving course through one of the driving instructor programs that are around in your area. Oftentimes, the motor vehicle branch will even recommend that you take the course, and they will go over the whole exam with you. They'll prep you, practice, and you won't get into a situation that one of the driving examiners related to me. This was an elderly gentleman who was in his mid-80s, and he was up for driver renewal, and he had to have a practical driving exam. Now, as he was driving out of the motor vehicle examination center, there's a busy sidewalk where a lot of people are going between lights. And of course, the first part of the examination is you don't hit anybody. If you hit anybody, that's not going to get your license renewed. So he didn't. He stopped just before, and of course, there were a lot of people going back and forth, and he couldn't pull out into the traffic. So after a few minutes, he got very agitated and started rolling down the window and shouting obscenities at the people walking by. Get out of my way, you blah, 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 blah. I've got a driving exam and I have to get out of here. So, and he became extremely agitated, at which time the driving examiner asked him just to pull over to the side there, and he removed his driving license. So I would strongly encourage you to take the course prior to going for your practical examination. Your chances of success are much higher if you do. So let me give you some tips that I've found over my career that'll be helpful. I had a lot of time to think about this now because, of course, I'm a senior. I'm not a medical examiner anymore. So here's my thoughts on the matter. The first is, when you get up in the morning as a senior, some days you have good days and bad days. Maybe that nasty doctor gave you some medicine that makes you a bit fuzzy in the morning. Maybe it's your Parkinson's disease that day, and the medicine hasn't quite kicked in, or it might be making you a little drowsy. But you know today is an off day. That's a day that you shouldn't be driving. You also may find that you're better driving in the afternoon. You're much brighter, more alert. Mornings just aren't your thing. Then you shouldn't be offering to drive your neighbor to the airport at 7 a.m. So all as I'm saying is, as seniors, we can pick and choose when we want to make a decision to go out for a drive. Now, if you don't feel well, then take an Uber, take a taxi, do something other than put yourself or someone else in danger. Wait till you feel good before you get behind that wheel. Now, the second thing is, if you're going to go to a destination that you do not know where it is, you should plan your trip before getting in the car. If you have Google Maps on your computer, have a look at the computer, go over the route, visualize it, plan it in your head. You know, those 20-year-old taxi cab drivers that do Hewies in the middle of the road, they go up alleyways, they do all sorts of things to try and find an address they don't know. Their reflexes are a lot better than yours. So do the planning before you get in the car. I know, we'll talk all about Android Auto and how Google Maps works in a car and can help you get along with that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I want you to do it before you get in the car. In your mind, I want you to have a mental idea of exactly where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. All right, part 2 next week. Ray, just before you get going, let me just say goodbye to our YouTube people on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming and watching the show. We will, if you want to pop over and participate in our Q&A, you're most welcome to do so. Don't forget about our Tech for Senior live show on Thursday. All right, I'll end the broadcast now. Go ahead, Ray, take it away.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. They keep on doing this to me. They move I found them. All right.
Oh, there you go.
It's a little bit better changed on me. Let me just do one quick thing here. All right. Chita Rivera, a Broadway icon. Now, the following 5 paragraphs have been provided by the Bing Copilot. Quote, Chita Rivera, the legendary Broadway icon, best known for her portrayal of Anita in the original 1957 Broadway production of West Side Story, has passed away at the age of 91. She died in New York after a brief illness, as confirmed by her daughter in a statement provided to CBS News. Chita Rivera was a trailblazer for other Latinas aspiring to the Broadway stage. Her remarkable career, including 10 Tony nominations and 2 wins. In 2018, she received a special Tony Award for Lifetime Achievement in Theater. Now, born in Washington, D.C. on January 23, 1933, Rivera's journey began with dance. She trained as a dancer from a young age and won a scholarship to the prestigious School of American Ballet at just 16. Her passion for rhythm and movement led her to Manhattan's Palladium nightclub, where she discovered her heartbeat and sex appeal. Rivera's star continued to rise as she catapulted herself onto the Broadway stage. In addition to her iconic role in West Side Story, she starred in other hit shows such as Bye Bye Birdie, Guys and Dolls, Chicago, and Kiss of the Spider Woman. Her talent and impact extended beyond the stage. In 2002, she became the first Latina to receive the Kennedy Center Honors, recognizing her lifetime contributions to the performing arts. In 2009, then President Barack Obama awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom for being an agent of change in the arts world. Chita Rivera's legacy lives on, and as fellow artist Rita Moreno aptly put it, Chita Rivera is eternal. Moreno, who portrayed Anita in the 1961 film version of West Side Story, expressed her admiration for Rivera, emphasizing that she will always be remembered and celebrated, unquote. Now, the name Chita comes from Rivera's given names, Dolores Conchita. She was one of 5 children, and her father, who was Puerto Rican, died when she was only 7 years old. Rivera married fellow West Side Story dancer Tony Mordente, and they had a daughter named Lisa in 1958. So today's clip, which I've edited for time constraints, has Chita Rivera performing America from West Side Story as part of a 1982 TV special, Broadway Plays Washington. Chita Rivera.
So, Ray, how old was she? Like, how did she get her leg up that high? Like, I can't do that.
It hurt me just watching it.
I know. How old was she when she did that show?
Well, that was in 1982, and she died last week at the age of 91. So you have to do the math.
All right. But, oh, wow. I know. My back's hurting just thinking about that. All right. Listen, that brings the end of our show. Thank you so much for everyone for coming. We really do appreciate the audience and you coming and listening to us each week. And as I've said many times before, it is your support and the support of coming here each week that keeps us going and making our videos. We will open the show up to Q&A now if you have any questions. And don't forget that we have the Thursday show. What day is it on, Hewie?
Thursday.
Thursday. All right.
And
It's
I'm
on
muted. Thursdays.
Thursday, right? Our Thursday show is on Thursday. And what time is it, Hewie? Same time as our Monday show, right? You don't even have to know. Just whatever it is, it's the same time. And how do you
noon
find
real time and then earlier
Right.
for those on the West Coast and in between.
Right. And we'll put the video up and you can certainly watch the video. Jim Glass, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
I just wanted to thank you for the driving lesson. I just went through that, and my license is revoked. And I had to say thank you because one of the hardest things for anybody to go through after all these years of independence is losing that form of independence. And recognizing that, you know, maybe they are right, that you really shouldn't be driving. And that's a really hard thing to accept. But you should pay attention to what they're telling you, because my realization came in, you know, I really shouldn't be driving. So instead of writing in for all the appeals processes here in California, I decided, heck with it, I accept what they said and make other arrangements for getting from here to there. So thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Jim. And and that is the reason I wanted to make the video. I know it's a very difficult decision. We're all going to have to come up with it with our own personal decisions on this in the next few years. And I think that it's something we haven't talked a lot about. And so I thought that's the reason I wanted to do this video for some time now. And part 2 will be next week. But yes, it affects all of us. I guess death, dying, and taxes, and your driving license could add another one on there. So yes, indeed. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, if you replace your regular router with a mesh Wi-Fi router, and you've got 2 units, can you then plug in directly to the second unit?
You can, but you can't run 2 routers at one time because because it's going to issue IP addresses and you'll get IP conflicts. So you can bridge, and that's not an uncommon situation. For example, if you get a router that is a combination router modem from your cable company and you don't like it, you don't want to use that, then you can hook your own router onto that, and they put it in what we call a bridge mode. And they bridge it over to your other router, which means it won't create the IP addresses. The one from the cable companies won't create the IP addresses. You can't have both creating IP addresses because they're going to get confused. So you can do that, but it has to be set in bridge mode. And in my experience with our cable company and the one that I've been used to is they have to do that. That's not something you can do. You have to phone the cable company and they will, or your company that you're dealing with, and they will put it in bridge mode for you.
Yeah, I was just interested in replacing the router that I've got that's separate by itself.
Right. Are you on cable? Are you on cable?
Yes.
Yeah.
To a modem, and then the router's connected to that. But the problem with the router is that occasionally it'll lose the signal.
Right.
And I know that it's not my computer because I see all the other Wi-Fi ones around it, and we have to reboot the router again. Would a mesh router help with that, or would it have the same problem?
No, the big issues with mesh routers is it allows you, it gives you better. It's a square footage thing with your house. It gives you better signal depending where you're going to be, and it does that through it depends on the type of mesh router that you have. But if you're in a small apartment, there's no advantage in getting a mesh router. But if you have a big house and you have multiple floors, then mesh routers really work well for that. But I would also caution you is, and I actually did a video on this. And this largely centers around cable modem routers, is that, the cable companies now, and particularly with Wi-Fi 4 coming out, or sorry, DOCSIS 4 coming out, is there's going to be a lot of upgrades in this technology, and your cable company, you know, is going to have to replace. And I had 3 routers in 1 year. I didn't pay for them. They just kept coming and replacing them as I changed my service, and I didn't pay for any of them. One of the problems, if you spend a lot of money on a mesh router and you go and you purchase it, then the technology is changing so darn fast now, and particularly in the cable services area, that you may be much better just to hang in there and rent one for a couple of months or a year and see where we go with this, because it's really going. We're gonna talk a little bit about this on Thursday, but it's changing so fast that you don't want to get stuck with outdated technology. Bill James, go ahead.
You're muted, Bill.
Oh, Ron, I was just going to mention in your presentation, you're going to talk about the new technology like blindside monitoring.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yes.
Right.
That's already done. But we would be here till another half an hour, and Ray would be mad at me because he would be. It was just too. So we split it. I split it up. But yeah, I'll be talking about all that technology.
That was the reason why I traded a car a couple of years ago, just for its features.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good stuff. You know, there's blindside monitoring, there's rear view cameras and sensors, and there's all sorts of really great technology. And like that man that had the Tesla, I mean, it is really, yes, you certainly can be a lot safer with all the new technology on vehicles.
You have to get used to the screens, but other than that, that's
you do.
That's a little curve.
Yeah, but for sure. Coming up, Jim, go ahead.
Well, one of the things is I've put in a mesh router about 4 or 5 years ago, and it still works quite nicely. But I do rent from my cable company, which is Spectrum, their modem. It's not a combination, it's the modem alone. So once I hook the mesh router to the modem, you know, it covers the whole house. And one of the things you have to remember is that a lot of times the trouble with the wireless technology is that if you have the wrong type of walls, it won't go through them. And that's where the mesh router comes in really important. If you have the type of house that has sharp angles or you know, concrete walls or things that the signal would not go through, the mesh router seems to take care of those problems.
Yeah, so Jim, good point. And just to let everyone know, my background is that I really enjoyed my Orbi. I had the Orbi mesh system, and I ran it for 3 or 4 years, and I really liked it. It's a great system, and it's a mesh router that was plugged into an old cable modem I had. And then I upgraded to like it's the same as Comcast's Infinity service, right? Where I had and I have all my TVs linked in through their system, and it wasn't possible. So they brought in a big commercial mesh router that's their own. Like I couldn't use the Orbi. Well, I could, but it was no advantage to use the Orbi. No, actually, I couldn't even do that because of the way they set it up. And the Infinity system from Comcast broadcasts out, and it's a mesh system. So that's what I'm using in my house today, which works fine. It's a great system, and it's I think it's as good as the Orbi, and it's fine. So I guess it just depends on you know, what service you're using. Tim, you've probably got some thoughts on that as well. Go ahead.
Generally speaking, your router is a very low-end computer dedicated to very simple tasks of being able to issue your IP addresses, route your communications via Ethernet and Wi-Fi, etc. And like your regular computers, they do require periodically being turned off to turn back on, because they don't have the regular kind of restart our regular computers have. What I did when I was having some issues like Steve was talking about, I just put a timer on. And when I'm sleeping, since I haven't figured out how to use my computer while I'm sleeping, it turns off the electricity to the router. And then a little bit later, it turns it back on. And when I get up in the morning, everything is absolutely fine. So that's an option that a lot of people don't think about because a lot of people don't use timers anymore.
Yeah, that's a great idea. What I found that was interesting, and I hadn't realized this, but there's an app on my phone, the cable company I have that I deal with. There's an app on the phone, and when you open the app up, the first button on the top is reset your router. So all's on my phone. I used to have to climb behind my desk and get in there and unplug and plug it back in, which is a pain in the butt, right? And who wants to do that? Plus, it always happened when, I don't know, someone wanted to use the computer. It was just very inconvenient. And Bob always tried to get me. He said, Ron, do it once a week. Do it once a week. And okay, Bob, but I could never remember. And so I recently and I hadn't done it for a couple of months, and I was having some problems. And I just did it a couple of days ago, and I opened the app up and just hit reset, and it reset it right from the app. I guess it connects right to the central.
Well, the funny thing, Ron, is most timers are a 24-hour timer, but I have some that are a week-long timer that'll turn on and off a certain amount of time each day that I have set up.
Right.
So I can have it set so that it only turns off and turns back on once a week.
Right. So Tim, here's a question that maybe you can answer for me is, as we all know, it's not a good idea to unplug your computer and let it just crash. You should log out and set it down, and you should actually exit it properly. It's not a good idea just to unplug it. Now, is in a router, if you're just pulling the plug on it, you're crashing it. Is that harmful, or is that okay?
No, it seems to be okay because they don't normally have this reset option. The app that you were talking about is something that's more recent.
Right.
And, I think it's a great idea. It should have been there a long time ago, but I've been turning off with a timer the electricity to the router at nighttime when I'm sleeping, and it seems to have no negative effects.
Okay.
But that's mostly because it is a low-end computer. All the programming is in what's called a EEPROM chip, and it doesn't change but once in a blue moon with a firmware update. So where a regular computer has either a spinning hard drive or an SSD, you can corrupt that storage device's stuff so it doesn't boot back up without you having to do some repair work.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bill James.
I did that last night, interestingly, before I went to bed, using my phone app.
Right.
And I hadn't really rebooted my modem in probably several months because I forgot.
Yeah.
But the idea about the timer is a fantastic idea. And someone mentioned using a smart plug.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
So you would have to do the same thing with a mesh router as well, right?
Well, yeah, you do the router also, but in my case, my modem and my router are separate.
Yeah, they are with mine too.
The modem generally doesn't need that problem because it's an analog device sending out a digital signal to your router, whether it's in one device or two separate devices. It's the router that needs to be reset.
Yeah, and it doesn't make a difference whether it's a standalone router or a mesh router,
I
right?
don't think so.
Doesn't matter.
No.
Okay.
And to follow up on that, it's interesting because I have the, the latest Infinity, super duper deluxe router that you would think would just reset it and do its updates by itself, but it didn't, because you're absolutely correct. When I rebooted it a couple of days ago, it really made a difference, big difference in how it performed. So you're right. Even if you have the latest version, you'd think it would automatically update it, but it doesn't. You have to do it, right?
Yeah, you have to manually usually do the firmware updates. After you get done, as long as everything looks like it's working normally, it would be a good idea to shut down the router, remove the electricity, leave it off for about a minute or two. That discharges built up stored electricity in some of the electronic components, and then go ahead, plug it back in, bring it back up, and you might really see some improved performance.
Thanks a lot. Bob, just before we get to Bob and Jim, Maurice is here, and I wanted to just say hello and thank you again for doing it today. Maurice, did you have any questions or comments?
No, I was just going to comment on two things on that driving conversation, because I work in a number of retirement villages.
Right.
We sadly had a person, the wife survived cancer of a year. The husband was in his 90s, refused up to give his license. And 2 days later, they got killed. So, regardless of your ego at a certain age, you really got to let that go. But the other thing, just interestingly enough, because I work with the elderly, I don't know if this will come through, but we do this, let me turn off the blur, this old school, because we're always telling people to turn off their whatchamacallits, and it doesn't work. Let me just, there's a thing from Amazon called the Maxima 9-foot extension cord, and it has an enormous big button. And what we do is we just tell people to press that button to reset everything. And we plug in the router and or the Wi-Fi into this thing, and whenever we tell them to unplug it, they just press this button that's about that large. And most people use it for extensions on their light switches.
Maybe you could put the link to the Amazon in our
Yeah,
chat.
I'll email it to you, and then you can put it. It's called the Maxima 9-foot extension cord with this monster button on it.
Okay, that sounds great.
I mean, I'll let me just show you real quick something. If I could get the blur to stop, but you may not see this. But
put your hand up. Put your hand up again so you come up to the top.
Okay, hold on. It's this big button here. And you just press this big button that says blur. All right, let me figure out where's in Zoom the thing to turn off the blur.
Video.
Yeah, I know I'm in video, but it's the virtual background, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, here we go. So what you have, which is what I have set up in my house, because sometimes people are visiting, I go to the rack and just press the big button that says reset internet.
Okay.
And the stuff in question is actually this from Google. I'm sorry, from Amazon. It's called the Maxima 9-foot extension. It has a beautiful 3-inch big circle that anybody can press, and it just makes it very easily for the elderly who have vision issues to deal with.
Good. Excellent. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
That's great. And thank you for doing thank you for doing the show, the presentation today.
Yeah. Any
Bob,
questions on that? No.
Any quick questions? We're running out of time here. Bob, do you have a quick comment or?
Yeah, two things. Mine is set up with a smart plug, and it's Miss A or Mr. G that I just simply tell them to reset my modem router combo whenever it's time, and I see some. Usually I do it anytime I have a presentation to do, or like now. It only takes a couple of minutes, and then you're assured of the fact that you don't have any problems with that modem router. But Miss A is the one that takes care of it for me. I don't have to bend down. I don't have to do anything. And that's because it's plugged into a smart plug.
All right. And Jim, did you have one last short question or any comment?
It was just a quick comment.
A quick
Where I
one, go
live,
ahead.
we just reset because we have power outages all the time.
Right. Thanks,
So
Jim.
everything turns off. We got one coming up next week.
All right. Okay, it is past our time, and I want to thank everyone for coming today. It was, I think, a great show. We'll see you. Hey, does everyone know when our Thursday show is? I don't want to go over that
Wednesday.
again, but
Thursday,
right?
what a day.
Yeah, so we'll see everybody maybe on our Thursday show this week. If not, we'll be back next week for part 2 of our driving, and we have lots of good things coming next week. So we'll see everybody there. Don't forget, our premiere video will be starting in about 10 minutes, and lots of interesting topics to discuss. So thanks everyone for coming, and we'll see you in about a week's time. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.